Is your content strategy propelling your business forward or holding it back? Now, I know that might sound like a little bit of a crazy question, like who is really going to say I have a content strategy that holds me back? But hear me out. Because in theory, your content marketing strategy should help you get the word out there about what you do, help you gain trust and grow your business. But what if your content efforts just aren't having the effect you hope? In episode 191 of the Content 10X podcast, I shared that one of the most important lessons I've learned since starting my business is that what got you here won't get you there. And in fact, the quote was, what got you here will catastrophically prevent you from getting there. Because the reality is that certain strategies and ways of working will only get you so far and then no further. And they might even restrict you from moving forward altogether. Now, no business owner wants to feel like this. And if you're anything like me, you'll hate that stagnant feeling. Nothing makes me more uncomfortable than when things just feel like they're ticking along in business, because that's when I know it must be time to change things up. So I'm going to drill down into 3 things all business owners and content creators can do to make sure that your content is always helping your business move forward. Now, these are all things we do here at Content 10X that I recommend to anyone who feels like their content is getting a little bit stagnant. Now, number 1, review your content. This sounds super simple on the surface, but really you do need to do a deep dive into your content. You need to look at everything you're producing and question if it's helping your business, doing very little or nothing, or in fact hindering it. Because it's vital to approach a content review really critically. If you're too close to the content you create, it can be really challenging to distance yourself enough that you can make the harder decisions about what's working and what isn't. But it's the only way you're going to see a change. So be sure to get hold of any analytics and data that you can. Sometimes you think something is working or not working, but the data will tell you otherwise. So this happens an awful lot. Be careful of that. Be sure to involve your team, and it might be necessary to bring an external expert in to work with you on your review too. So maybe consider if you want to involve a marketing strategist. This could be someone you hire every quarter to help you with your reviews so that they can get to know your business as well. So try and work with the same person every quarter. At Content 10X, we do a detailed quarterly review of our content production. We take a good hard look at what content performed well, what didn't resonate, and whether it's worthwhile for us to keep creating. And then we use this as a springboard to move forward. A review is a great opportunity to spot content gaps and bring new ideas to the table, and use this time to scope out what content you want to create for the next quarter. But don't just look at your own content. Use this time to look at the platforms you're creating for and what others are doing too. What new opportunities are out there? Things can change fast in the online world, especially on social media platforms. Perhaps there's a new platform specific feature that you could try creating content for, or repurposing content to. And then after we've done our detailed quarterly review, we draw up a plan and meet monthly to then review status, and if necessary, sometimes weekly as well. So that's tip number 1. Do a really thorough content review and do it periodically. Build it into your annual calendar and make it a high priority. Set goals to achieve by the end of each quarter to keep everyone on track, and then have monthly or even weekly review meetings to continue to monitor that. Moving on to tip number 2, analyse your internal systems and processes. Slick systems and processes are integral to running a successful business. They can make such a difference to everything from how profitable your business is to your day-to-day stress levels. And when you have solid systems in place, running your business can feel like it's overseeing a well-oiled machine. It's easier to recruit people into roles, it's easier to train them, it's easier to sell your business if that's your ultimate goal as well. But things change, and so should your processes. The system you put in place 2 years ago might have been perfect at the time, but your business will have changed since then. You might be using new tools, serving new clients, made changes to your services or products, and whilst these may have forced certain changes to your processes, why wait for something external to trigger a process overhaul? Keeping your business moving is all about taking a proactive approach and revisiting your internal processes processes is just a great way to improve your business from the inside out. So take your content repurposing process as an example. Could you make it easier, faster? Are there certain parts that you should be outsourcing to achieve your goals? Or would the entire repurposing process be better off outsourced to increase your ROI? How much time do you spend on it? Where could you be spending that time instead? So really take time to analyse where you're spending time and effort and think about how you could optimise your workflow. Just a few changes could save you so much time, and think what you could do with that time. So we conducted an extremely deep dive into our processes about 6 months ago. We put aside an hour every single day and reviewed, updated and developed every single client process and internal process. And it was such a worthwhile task. We spotted so many opportunities to change things. And as a business owner, it was extremely important and worthwhile for me to get back into the detail. And now we have a process deep dive monthly, and it is really worthwhile to do that. So that's the second tip, analyse and adapt your processes. Now you could do this periodically, like your content review. At Content 10X, we believe there's no time like the present to improve how you do things. So we update our processes as soon as anything changes and are always keeping a lookout for ways to optimise them. But as well as constantly trying to update and refine our processes, we do then step back and do those like helicopter view process reviews as well, just to make sure there's nothing that we may be missing when we're too much in the detail. Now on to my third and final tip. In order to keep your business moving, you can't be afraid to experiment. By this I mean taking careful, calculated risks. It can be scary to try new things in business. I've taken many leaps of faith that didn't quite work out how I first imagined they would. But if they do work out, what a difference they can make. My most recent leap of faith was the Content 10X rebrand. This is something I'd been thinking about for a while, and with a big change like this, there's always going to be some apprehensions and doubts holding you back from going for it. Then I thought, but what if our current brand image is actually holding us back? And that's when I decided we must go for it, and then I set the wheels in motion. Now, I'm not saying you have to rebrand your whole business in order to move forward just because we did, but I am saying you should embrace the big, scary ideas and consider how they can help your business get to the next level. Perhaps you want to try creating a new type of content, for example, videos as well as podcasts, but you're not sure if it's the right move for your business. You could use your content review to plan out a content experiment, run it for the next quarter, and then evaluate. And yes, it might take more time and effort and it might not pay off, but you might discover an entirely new audience, new clients, and it might be a huge success. So my advice is to go all in when you experiment. Come up with a comprehensive plan and dedicate yourself to it. That way, at the end of your trial period, you'll be able to clearly tell if something has worked. A big mistake I often see people make is they think they're trying something new, but they're only doing it in a half-hearted way. A bit too scared to commit, so they just dip their toe in. But the problem is you don't truly test the impact of something if you only dip your toe in with the test and you don't go all in. So those are my 3 recommendations for revitalising your content strategy and moving your business forward. I know it's not anything groundbreaking, but sometimes it's good to just revisit these things and make sure we do it. Review, analyse and experiment. So please do let me know if you'll be putting any of this into practice. I'd really like to hear your stories and how you get on.